Xiao Chen nodded and received the spatial ring from Feng Feishui. He felt grateful for her assistance and the resources she provided. In a few more days, you will be going to the Kunlun realm. I have a request to make of you, Xiao Chen said. Xiao Chen's words caught Leng Tianhe's attention, and he replied, Senior, just tell me. I will definitely do everything within my means. Leng Tianhe's gaze held a hint of worry as he muttered, when an era of geniuses comes, a great calamity will follow. The previous era, 5,000 years ago, ended peacefully. However, the laws of nature will not change. The coming calamity will probably be the greatest calamity in the past 10,000 years. In the future, if you manage to climb to the peak of the Tao, please take care of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Xiao Chen smiled wryly and said, reaching the peak of the Tao is a daunting task, Senior. This matter is probably too distant in the future. You are overthinking it. Leng Tianhe sighed softly and explained, I'm not overthinking this. 10,000 years ago, the glorious Tianwu dynasty vanished like smoke. The 9 dragon veins of the Tianwu continent scattered, and the spiritual energy of the world turned chaotic. Even to this day, it has not fully recovered. Though Xiao Chen initially found Leng Tianhe's words to be overly alarmist, he eventually agreed, one day, if I reach the peak of the Tao, I will certainly not ignore the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. After leaving Leng Tianhe's room, Xiao Chen spent another half-day refining the countenance halting pill and then gave it to Lu Ruyu. Leng Tianhe's words had expanded Xiao Chen's perspective. He intended to spend his final days in the Sky Dome realm at the Thunder Emperor Valley, hoping to find an opportunity to advance his state into a will from the immortal will left behind by the Thunder Emperor. Lu Ruyu embraced Xiao Chen, her eyes brimming with tears. She refused to let him go for a long time and asked, Xiao Chen, is this a farewell forever? Xiao Chen felt a twinge of sorrow but wiped away Lu Ruyu's tears and assured her, it's not a farewell forever. Just wait for my return. The two spent a heartfelt night together. When Lu Ruyu fell asleep, Xiao Chen kissed her on the forehead, dressed quietly, and left the room. In the dim early morning light, he gazed at the picturesque Qingyan Peak. It held countless memories for him, but he knew he had to leave. He couldn't help but suppress the reluctance in his heart. It's time to go. Since ancient times, the strong are destined to be lonely. The moment you decided to climb to the peak of cultivation, you were already destined to be lonely, Ao Zhao softly remarked. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and refrained from dwelling on the mountain. He steeled himself for departure. As he soared above Saber City, he spotted a familiar figure standing above the city. Upon closer inspection, he realized it was Feng Feishui, the cross-dressed girl, who was smiling faintly as she flew toward him. Shoo! Xiao Chen's figure flickered, and he landed across from her. Feng Feishui presented a spatial ring to him, saying, the Dragon Phoenix cauldron you left with me is in there. The Feng clan has gathered all the materials on refining secret treasures, which are also inside. Lastly, there are 100,000 superior-grade spirit stones. I hope these resources will be of assistance to you. 100,000 superior-grade spirit stones was a substantial amount. Currently, Xiao Chen possessed only 80,000 superior-grade spirit stones, making this contribution extremely valuable for his cultivation and expenses in the Kunlun realm. Feng Feishui smiled gently and kissed Xiao Chen on the lips, saying, this kiss is my way of thanking you. I now have complete control of the Feng clan, and I promise to help you take care of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the Xiao clan. Xiao Chen, somewhat surprised by the sudden kiss, touched his lips and teased, I've just discovered today how valuable my kiss is. Do you want to give me a few more? Feng Feishui blushed and laughed, I dare not be that bold. Your girl will kill me. Let's go. Stop lingering. By sunset, Xiao Chen arrived at Thunder Emperor Valley. When the old men seated above the valley saw him, they were taken aback. Several of them were part of the group Xiao Chen had previously defeated, and without a word, they scattered and fled. These fellows are truly cowardly. They act as if you'll devour them. With such timidity, how can they hope to find opportunities in Thunder Emperor Valley? Ao Zhao remarked indifferently. Xiao Chen found a suitable spot and sat down cross-legged, remarking, it's good they left. It'll be more peaceful. Thunder rumbled around Xiao Chen, and the will of thunder permeated the clouds, exuding immense pressure that seemed eternal, undiminished even after thousands of years. Suddenly, Xiao Chen had an idea and asked Dao Jiao, "Do you think I can immediately comprehend the will of thunder by directly absorbing it?" Dao Jiao responded with a cold snort, "It's easier said than done. This is the immortal will of thunder, no one can subdue it unless they're more powerful than the Thunder Emperor of that era." Xiao Chen smiled but remained silent. He closed his eyes and began to sense the will of thunder. Meanwhile, the half-step martial monarchs Xiao Chen had chased away had not gone far. They hovered about 1 kilometer from Thunder Emperor Valley, watching Xiao Chen with cold smiles. This guy is really daring. Thunder Emperor Valley has never allowed martial monarchs and above to stay there. We'll wait and see how he gets struck by lightning. That's the immortal divine lightning. Even a peak martial monarch would struggle to endure it. Once he's dead, we'll split the treasures he has among us. Xiao Chen, despite keeping his eyes closed, was aware of their words and actions. He smiled to himself and paid no attention to them. As the Thunder Emperor's successor with the Lunar Shadow Saber is his proof, why would the immortal divine lightning strike him? These people were bound to be disappointed. Ancient desolate land, heavenly extermination lake. A man, carrying a long sword on his back, walked calmly on the greenish surface of the lake. Ripples spread around his footsteps. Above him, the sky was filled with white clouds spanning thousands of kilometers, but there was an unusual black mark in the sky. When one approached, it became apparent that this black mass was thick, ominous clouds, and beneath them sat an island shrouded in yin energy. The man with the sword on his back observed the scene and commented, "The Dark Church's headquarters is just as expected." The man was Chu Chaoyun, who had been absent since the Five-Nation Youth Competition, now mysteriously reappearing. He was accompanied by several formidable cultivators, including the Sacred Heavenly Church's Church Master, the Master of the Devil Savannah's Black Knights, and the leader of the Black Dragon Group. All these significant figures showed a rare respect toward Chu Chaoyun. Inside a secret room within a palace on the island, a man enveloped in black qi sat cross-legged. Upon closer inspection, he bore a resemblance to Xiao Chen. Shu. An image of the black-clad man who was seated cross-legged stood up and became almost identical to the original person. This clone pushed open the doors to the secret room. The guard by the side was astonished and exclaimed, "Church Master, you've ended your closed-door cultivation. I'll go and inform the acting Church Master." The black-clad man chuckled, "I am just a clone, there's no need to make a fuss." Soon, the acting Church Master arrived with a group of disciples and knelt before the black-clad man, asking, "Church Master, why have you ended your closed-door cultivation?" The black-clad man waved his hand, and an invisible force lifted the group to their feet. He replied, "Come with me to meet our guest." The black-clad man, Hu Kai, led the group into the air, and within moments, they reached Chu Chaoyun. When Hu Kai saw Chu Chaoyun, he smiled faintly, "Interesting. 10,000 years ago, I destroyed the Tianwu dynasty. Now, a group of its descendants is here to work with me." Chu Chaoyun grinned and replied, "As long as our goals align, it doesn't matter who we work with. However, I must say, your strength disappoints me a bit." In response, Chu Chaoyun's eyes burst into golden flames, and his heavenly flame engulfed Hu Kai. Hu Kai easily dodged the attack with his clone, reappearing before Chu Chaoyun and thrusting his hand toward Chu Chaoyun's chest like a saber. A golden beam of light solidified and clashed with Hu Chi's attack, creating a metallic sound and quaking the air. The solid light shattered like glass, sending pillars of water into the air when it fell into the lake below. When the light disappeared, Hu Kai smiled and complimented Chu Chaoyun's skill. Chu Chaoyun retorted, "The Azure Emperor's sword didn't incapacitate you either. Let's get to the point. Open the door to the demonic world for me." Hu Kai replied, "There's no rush. We're waiting for one more person. Without her, you won't be able to learn the high-ranked techniques of the demon races even if you go to the demonic world." At that moment, a girl in a purple dress with a veil arrived on the horizon. She had a purple mark on her forehead and bewitching eyes that exuded an irresistible allure. Chu Chaoyun felt an undefined sense of danger from her and asked, "Who is she?" Hu Kai answered, "She is Leng Yu, one of the 18 old demon monarchs of the Deep Abyss demonic world." Days passed, and the thunder in Thunder Emperor Valley never ceased. It's been 5 days already. Why hasn't that guy been struck by lightning yet? This doesn't make any sense. This is truly bizarre. In the past 5 days, we haven't even managed to take a step, and yet the immortal divine lightning seems to spare him. I'm starting to feel dizzy. My essence is almost depleted. If we keep waiting like this, we'll fall into the water before he's struck by lightning. Let's hang on a bit longer. This guy is a king-grade true dragon genius. He must have plenty of spirit stones, medicinal pills, and various treasures on him. Indeed, this is a rare opportunity. It's a chance to obtain something without much effort. The group of half-step martial monarchs continued to wait, gradually depleting their essence as they eagerly anticipated Xiao Chen's fate. Above Thunder Emperor Valley, Xiao Chen opened his eyes, his gaze filled with purple electric light. In the past 5 days, his understanding of lightning had reached a new level. He had come to realize that lightning wasn't an inherent force in the world. Unlike elements like wind, fire, or water, lightning couldn't exist independently. It relied on the combination of wind and clouds. Without the wind and clouds, there would be no lightning. The immortal divine lightning in Thunder Emperor Valley was a testament to this principle. Without the wind and the lingering dark clouds, the Thunder Emperor's will of thunder would never have become immortal. With this insight, Xiao Chen had a rough understanding of the will of thunder, although he hadn't yet crossed the threshold. He no longer felt completely clueless. Xiao Chen stood up and murmured to himself, "Half a year has passed in the blink of an eye. It's time to gather in Dragon Sealing City." He glanced at the half-step martial monarchs who were waiting for lightning to strike him, finding them somewhat comical. Shoo! Xiao Chen gently propelled himself into the air, and an image of the Azure Dragon materialized as he silently arrived behind the group. He asked, "Seniors, what are you all waiting for?" One of the old men replied despondently, "What else can we be waiting for? We are waiting for that brat to be struck by lightning." Some of them turned around, saw Xiao Chen behind them, and panicked, quickly retreating. Xiao Chen chuckled, "Even though you are incompetent, your hearts are rather vicious. In that case, I will let you experience being struck by lightning." He pointed, and wind and clouds moved in the sky, causing the clouds to collide. A bolt of lightning descended and struck the person who had spoken earlier, knocking him into the water. Xiao Chen displayed the understanding he had gained in Thunder Emperor Valley, manipulating the clouds and lightning. Instantly, lightning rained down, striking all the half-step martial monarchs who had been waiting for Xiao Chen. After being struck by lightning, they screamed in pain and fell into the water, their bodies charred. It's time to go to Dragon Sealing City. Xiao Chen, having finished with the group of old men, stood on an Azure Dragon image and departed for Dragon Sealing City. Meanwhile, back at the river, blackened heads emerged from the water, baffled by what had happened. They couldn't understand why they had been struck by lightning while Xiao Chen remained unharmed. Above Dragon Sealing City, the martial god palace's jade warship floated high in the sky, radiating brilliant light and celestial music. The dark clouds that had loomed for 5,000 years now parted, allowing golden light to shine down on the ancient buildings of the city. The top 20 geniuses from the Sky Dome Realm's True Dragon ranking stood at the ship's bow, looking majestic but also somewhat anxious. Though they had the unprecedented honor of going to the Kunlun realm, they were nervous and restless. Wan Feng's resounding victory over them had left them feeling uncertain about their strength. They worried that they might not regain their former glory when they arrived in the Kunlun realm, overshadowed by stronger competitors. Yet, their youthful pride and self-confidence drove them to anticipate the opportunity to rebuild themselves. They refused to believe that they would fail. As long as they had a chance, they believed they could rise to the occasion, recover their lost prestige, and shine once again. Yu Chengxi and Old Feng watched the horizon, clearly awaiting someone's arrival. Gong Yangyu stood composedly in the background of the two individuals. The primary division of his sect within the Sky Dome realm held significantly less power compared to the primary division of the Supreme Sky Sect, ranking only at the 8th level. After some negotiations, Gong Yangyu made the choice to journey to the Supreme Sky Sect situated in the Kunlun realm. While he could expect better treatment if he went to his own sect, he would find it easier to draw the attention of the upper echelons in a relatively weaker sect. The Supreme Sky sect attracted numerous brilliant minds, resulting in heightened competition compared to Gong Yangyu's home sect, with less favorable treatment. It was a decision between being a prominent figure in a smaller domain or a subordinate in a grander one, and Gong Yangyu opted for the latter. In reality, the majority of the individuals present also made a similar decision. Their home sects had yet to attain the 9th rank, so they sought superior alternatives. At this point, Yu Chengxi displayed a smile and remarked, "He has arrived." Gong Yangyu regained his composure and rapidly surveyed the area. In the distance, he spotted a figure riding an azure dragon image, covering a kilometer with each step. This individual moved swiftly toward the jade warship, exuding grace, excellence, and an air of profound and peerless quality. Naturally, this individual held the first position in the True Dragon ranking, being the champion of the younger generation in the Sky Dome realm. He was none other than Xiao Chen, the white-robed bladesman who had defeated Wan Feng, a king-grade True Dragon genius. Xiao Chen is here. Yu Chengxi wasn't the only one. The attention of the other individuals also shifted towards Xiao Chen, the white-robed bladesman who appeared capable of performing endless feats. Previously, at the Wan clan's palace plaza, Wan Feng had humiliated numerous young heroes. They harbored doubts but suffered humiliating defeats without any resistance. Only Xiao Chen managed to vanquish Wan Feng using his remaining strength, after defeating 36 martial monarchs and the 8 great guardian deities. In doing so, Xiao Chen had restored some pride for the youth of the Sky Dome realm. "My apologies, it appears I am somewhat late," Xiao Chen said with some regret to Old Feng. As he looked around, Xiao Chen realized that most of the expected individuals were already present. He hadn't anticipated that the others would arrive so early. Old Feng offered a gentle smile and mentioned, "No need to rush, there are even later arrivals." Xiao Chen counted meticulously and noticed that only 19 out of the top 20 participants were present. Chu Chaoyun was the missing person, which seemed peculiar given Chu Chaoyun's exceptional talent. Xiao Chen wondered whether he would decide not to venture to the Kunlun realm, potentially falling far behind and never catching up with Xiao Chen. This thought left Xiao Chen somewhat disappointed. "We won't wait any longer. He may be a genius from a lower realm, but he dares to act so arrogantly. If he's not interested, so be it. The martial god palace doesn't lack individuals of that caliber," came the displeased voice of the extreme yin old man from the ship's hold. "Hu Kai." The moment the extreme yin old man finished speaking, the jade warship ascended rapidly into the air, heading towards the boundless golden light. The thick dark clouds, which had been split in two, gradually mended. Once the gap had completely closed, Dragon Sealing City was once again concealed in shadow. Dragon Sealing City would remain hidden until the start of the next era of prodigies when the dark clouds above it would part, allowing the golden light to shine through. A dense golden light enveloped the jade warship. The many cultivators, including Xiao Chen, were intensely curious, scanning their surroundings. However, all they could see was the golden light, unable to discern anything remarkable. How exactly would this warship reach the Kunlun realm? Swoosh. At an unanticipated moment, the radiant golden light that enveloped them vanished, revealing an endless expanse of stars and the vast Milky Way before their eyes. Ordinarily, no one would dare to look in the direction of the scorching sun, but here it appeared as a mere, breathtaking orb of fire. Occasionally, enormous comets streaked past with their long tails trailing behind, whistling dangerously close to the observers' faces. Fortunately, a transparent shield covered the jade warship, safeguarding it from the comets. Is this the cosmic expanse? Xiao Chen realized that his knowledge from his previous existence couldn't elucidate this cosmic panorama. If he were to convey to someone from his previous life that a jade ship could hover and traverse through space, it would be dismissed as utter fantasy, regardless of their level of credulity. Glancing behind, Xiao Chen was startled to see that the Sky Dome realm had reduced to a mere stone tablet, emitting an iridescent glow from its talismanic scripts. He was quite certain that this stone tablet was larger than the jade warship, yet it was overshadowed by the multitude of stars surrounding it. Even after deep contemplation, this wondrous sight remained unfathomable. Old Feng's voice broke the reverie. "After we pass through that whirlpool ahead, we'll arrive in the Kunlun realm." Xiao Chen and the others swiftly focused their attention, not wanting to miss any crucial details. In the Kunlun realm, besides humans, there are various races of diverse sizes. The Kunlun realm is incredibly vast, almost boundless. In the Kunlun realm, the region controlled by humans is known as the Tianwu domain. There are frequent conflicts for resources, and the martial god palace serves as the supreme authority representing all human sects in the Tianwu domain. Old Feng continued, "For now, you needn't concern yourselves with other races or the various major cities. Exploring the Tianwu domain alone will keep you occupied for a lifetime. In fact, you might never finish exploring it." Gong Yangyu inquired, "How large is the Tianwu domain in comparison to the Tianwu continent?" Old Feng burst into laughter at this question. "There's no comparison. The Tianwu domain comprises 108 prefectures, and even the smallest one is as vast as a major nation in the Tianwu continent. The larger ones are equivalent to 2. Furthermore, this only pertains to the populated regions. If you factor in the wilderness and the ancient remnants, it's considerably larger." Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen and the others were left astounded. The mere Tianwu domain of the human race had an expanse of that magnitude. It begged the question, just how vast was the entire Kunlun realm? Old Feng concluded with a final piece of advice: "You are undoubtedly geniuses, or else the Supreme Sky Sect wouldn't have recruited you. However, don't expect to be nurtured by the sect without effort. This applies to all sects. To gain more resources, you must demonstrate your strength, distinguish yourself, and stand out among your fellow disciples." Old Feng's tone grew notably solemn as he uttered those last words. Yu Chengxi and Gong Yangyu exchanged glances, understanding the gravity of the situation. In contrast, Xiao Chen remained unperturbed. He had anticipated this outcome from the outset. The Supreme Sky Sect's main sect had its own genius disciples within the Tianwu domain, and there were other talents recruited with the backing of their respective realms. None of these individuals would be mediocre, and the competition would only escalate. When resources were evenly distributed, talent would inevitably shine. Those who proved themselves worthy of nurturing would be the ones to obtain what they desired. Shortly after, a cry of surprise erupted from everyone on the bow as the Jade warship entered the seven-colored whirlpool. An intense suction force seized them, against which no one could resist. They were disassembled into countless minuscule fragments. At this moment, their spirits separated from their bodies. They retained consciousness and cognition but couldn't control their own physical forms. This bizarre state evoked fear in everyone, but it didn't last long. Their dismembered bodies soon reconstituted, returning control to their owners. They could suddenly perceive their surroundings, with a radiant sun hanging high in an endless sky. Below, the mountainous land was covered in forests and cities, with towering buildings appearing no larger than ants from their vantage point. High above, there seemed to be no discernible difference from the Tianwu continent. "My cultivation seems to have improved slightly, my quintessence is purer. Mine too. It's as if the quintessence within my body has been reorganized, and several previously blocked meridians are now open. Is this the Kunlun realm?" The young cultivators from the Sky Dome realm on the bow exclaimed excitedly, their expressions filled with anticipation. Xiao Chen gently activated his quintessence and found that their words held true. His cultivation, as an early inferior-grade martial monarch, had indeed advanced somewhat. The flow of quintessence within his meridians had become more fluid, effectively saving him half a month's worth of cultivation. Old Feng offered a faint smile and guidance. "The laws of the lower realm differ from those of the upper realm. On your initial entry, everyone will receive some cultivation benefits. Although they aren't substantial, they're better than nothing. You should utilize this time to attune to the spiritual energy of the Kunlun realm. Before reaching the martial god palace, you should aim to acclimate yourself." Without the need for Old Feng's reminder, the youths on the bow had already closed their eyes and seated themselves cross-legged, eagerly absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy. Xiao Chen didn't rush to sit down. Instead, he channeled his quintessence, casually extending his hand into the air. A sphere of liquid formed from spiritual energy materialized in his palm. The faint blue sphere appeared saturated with a copious amount of spiritual energy. He murmured, "A simple gesture, and there's already this much spiritual energy. It's 10 times more than the spiritual energy-rich Great Jin nation." With a flick of his hand, he propelled the sphere using his quintessence, causing it to spin and soar into the distance before dispersing into mist. Surprisingly, there wasn't even the slightest disturbance in the surrounding space. Puzzlement flickered in Xiao Chen's eyes as he muttered, "Strange. In the Sky Dome realm, a casual attack could tear through space. Earlier, I infused a drop of condensed quintessence into that liquid sphere, yet it didn't generate a single spatial ripple." It became evident that the space within the Kunlun realm was significantly more robust than in the Sky Dome realm, with stricter restrictions imposed by natural laws on cultivators. Let's give it another shot. This time, Xiao Chen exerted more force, employing 50% of his quintessence and a saber intent he had comprehended up to 60%. He pointed and sent out a sharp strand of saber chi to the side. The saber chi resembled a flash of sunlight, vanishing from Xiao Chen's sight. As it passed, faint ripples appeared on both sides, extending through space like the aftermath of a stone dropped into a serene pond. This confirmed Xiao Chen's belief that the space within the Kunlun realm was remarkably robust. If he were to use a metaphor, the space in the Sky Dome realm was akin to a wooden structure, while the Kunlun realm's space was like a towering steel skyscraper. The disparity between the two was vast and incommensurable. Xiao Chen withdrew his hand and commented softly, "In such sturdy space, cultivation progress, flying speed, and the potency of martial techniques will all face considerably greater restrictions." It became clear why Wan Feng's quintessence was so pure. Due to the heavenly Tao's natural laws, cultivators here experienced more pronounced suppression than in the lower realms. Therefore, cultivators like them from the lower realms were inherently disadvantaged compared to the local geniuses accustomed to the Kunlun realm's natural laws. Any arrogant and headstrong cultivators from the lower realms who doubted the strength of the local geniuses would soon receive a harsh lesson. In the distance, two girls stood on an azure luan enveloped in flames. The girl on the right donned a green dress, radiating elegance and charm, her demeanor demure and captivating. She was already considered a paragon of beauty. However, the girl on the left, dressed in fiery red, eclipsed her in every aspect. Her skin glowed, her features sharp, and she seemed to embody the essence of blazing fire, an epitome of exquisite beauty. As the azure luan soared through the skies, a sharp saber chi, brimming with vitality, approached from the side. The girl on the right reacted promptly, pointing and releasing a fiery sword chi from her finger. A resonant cry of a phoenix echoed as the sword chi emitted a brilliant fiery radiance with a flourishing aura. Upon colliding with the saber chi, it rapidly dissolved it, turning it into a vapor cloud that dispersed. The girl on the left expressed amazement, whose saber chi was that? It actually compelled elder sister Nguyen to employ the vermilion bird holy fire. The girl surnamed Nguyen gazed at the distant jade warship. She observed a blurry white figure and commented softly, "This strand of saber chi comprises not only very pure quintessence but also a 60% comprehended saber intent. To casually dissipate it, I needed to use the vermilion bird holy fire." Simultaneously, she felt surprised. She recognized the emblem on the warship, signifying the martial god palace's welcoming envoys. A lower realm genius must have unleashed this saber chi. However, there was no trace of murderous intent. It was likely just a casual test by a lower realm cultivator. No issue there. Come, I'll take you to rank yourselves on the proud son of heaven ranking. While the other cultivators exuded confidence and excitement after their cultivation experience, Xiao Chen observed them with a faint frown. Wan Feng's strength could not be explained by mere spiritual energy. Even in the Tianwu domain, not just anyone could grasp Wan Feng's technique, which surpassed the pinnacle of the ice laws. Moreover, spiritual energy was readily available to everyone in the Kunlun realm. As common as bok choy, there was no need for excessive excitement. Inwardly, Old Feng muttered softly, shaking his head, "Ultimately, these are still youthful individuals who have yet to mature." At that moment, beams of golden light emerged from the front, revealing a colossal floating palace enveloped in mist, imbuing it with an aura of mystery. As the jade warship drew nearer, they noticed the inscription above its gates, Martial God Palace South Gate. "We have arrived. All of you, disembark swiftly. The elders of your respective sects will explain your next steps." The voice of the extreme yin old man resonated from the warship's hold. Old Feng announced, "Let's disembark." I will accompany you to the martial god palace for registration. Afterward, we will rank you on the proud son of heaven ranking. As Xiao Chen prepared to disembark, he suddenly felt an intense, hateful gaze upon him. When he turned his head, he saw Wan Feng glaring at him malevolently through a gap in the warship's windows. His eyes brimmed with an overwhelming hatred, as though he yearned to devour Xiao Chen alive, yet even that wouldn't quell his loathing. It was an extremely disconcerting sight. Xiao Chen contemplated, why does this individual harbor so much hatred? I merely defeated him publicly. If he is dissatisfied, he can challenge me once more. What's the need for such an ominous gaze? Unaware of the events involving Jin Dabao's humiliation of Wan Feng, Xiao Chen had been attributed all the humiliation of that day by Wan Feng. If Xiao Chen hadn't severely injured Wan Feng, how could Jin Dabao have beaten him, ultimately forcing him to kneel and admit his mistakes while begging for mercy? Upon noticing Xiao Chen in a brief reverie, Yu Chengxi called out, "Xiao Chen, it's time to go." Regaining his focus, Xiao Chen responded with a smile and leapt from the warship. Wan Feng clenched his right fist tightly and issued a cold ultimatum, "I'll let you bask in your temporary pride. Just wait until I break through to medial grade martial monarch. I'll ascend to the supreme sky sect and humiliate you." The immense palace, bathed in faint golden light amidst the dense spiritual mist, appeared as a heavenly oasis on earth. From a distance, the martial god palace invoked reminiscences of the forbidden city from Xiao Chen's previous life, albeit suspended in the air. The palace complex was replete with pavilions, all of which were simplistic and unadorned. A closer examination revealed the presence of mountains and lakes within. Although it bore the name of a palace, it resembled a miniature continent. Guided by the elders from various sects, the young cultivators disembarked in front of the south gate of the martial god palace. 2 rows of warriors clad in golden armor, boasting profound cultivations, stood beneath the unassuming signboard, their expressions devoid of emotion as they observed the incoming cultivators. Occasionally, individuals descended from the sky while riding spirit beasts. Flocks of small birds, teeming with potent spiritual energy, flew overhead. Upon closer scrutiny, it became evident that these unassuming birds emitted a radiant glow from their feathers and exuded an overwhelming spiritual energy. Unbelievably, they were rank 7 spirit beasts. Some of the bolder birds displayed no fear of the cultivators and fluttered around them, chirping incessantly. Now that the young cultivators from the Sky Dome realm had arrived at the martial god palace, they brimmed with curiosity and couldn't help but look around incessantly, taking in the sights of this unique place. Old Feng didn't rebuke their curiosity, he simply offered a gentle smile and led the trio past the guards after speaking with the head of the golden armored guards. Presenting his identity medallion and official documents, the guards at the south gate promptly allowed the group to skip the queue entirely. As they proceeded, the group was captivated by various treasures casually growing along the roadsides. Their excitement and astonishment were evident. Purple gold vine. That's 1,000-year-old purple gold vine at least, and its fruits are all ripe. And there's the fire dragon tree, also over 1,000 years old. Don't forget the white profound flower. The martial god palace seemed like an enchanting garden filled with spiritual trees and spirit herbs that were highly esteemed in the Sky Dome realm. Such treasures grew prolifically, appearing as common as weeds in the martial god palace's expansive landscape. Xiao Chen wasn't particularly astonished. Spiritual trees and spirit herbs lining the roadsides like this were likely considered neither precious nor rare in the Kunlun realm. Since they were in a new realm, it was essential to abandon comparisons to the Sky Dome realm. Old Feng led them skillfully through the martial god palace's pathways. They soon arrived at a sizable hall bearing the inscription, "Proud Son of Heaven Pavilion," above its doors. Once inside, Old Feng asked them to wait while he arranged for identity medallions to be created for the trio. Amid idle chit-chat, a few other young cultivators around them joined the conversation. Eager and excited, they inquired, "Are you cultivators from the lower realm?" The question came from a young woman with delicate features. She appeared to be in her mid-20s, already an inferior grade martial monarch with a stable aura, indicating she had reached this level some time ago. The trio exchanged glances, and Yu Chengxi introduced themselves. "Yes, we're from the Sky Dome realm. I am Yu Chengxi, this is Xiao Chen, and he is Gong Yangyu." The young woman, Bai Shi, introduced herself. I am Bai Shi, and these are my junior brothers, Bai He and Bai Yu. We are from Baiming Palace, a rank 8 sect in Chong Prefecture. As soon as Bai Yu heard that they were from the Sky Dome realm, his expression soured. We thought you were geniuses from one of the top 10 great battle realms, but you're from the lowest ranked Sky Dome realm. Senior sister Bai, let's go. There's no point in talking to them. Bai He concurred, the people from the Sky Dome realm aspire to enter the proud Son of Heaven ranking. That's a futile endeavor. You're only wasting your opportunity. However, Bai Shi objected, how can you two say that? It's rude. With indifference, Bai Yu added, Senior sister, you're welcome to waste your time here. We'll make our preparations, and when senior brother returns with the Sage Sky Lanterns, we'll attempt to enter the proud Son of Heaven ranking. Ignoring Xiao Chen and his companions, the two juniors left. Although their disdain was evident, it didn't affect Xiao Chen much. He understood that geniuses from the battle realms were well regarded, and their names were known throughout the Tianwu domain. Apologizing for her junior brother's behavior, Bai Shi explained that they were too proud. While Yu Chengxi wasn't entirely pleased, she appreciated Bai Zai's friendly demeanor and decided to change the subject. Let's not dwell on this. Can you tell us more about the proud Son of Heaven ranking, senior sister Bai? Bai Shi gladly obliged. Of course, the proud Son of Heaven ranking is the most prestigious ranking for the strength of the Tianwu domain's youths. As long as you're under 40 years old, you have the opportunity to vie for a spot on the ranking once every year. Achieving a ranking bestows fame in the Tianwu domain and numerous benefits. Bai Shi continued to explain the benefits of ranking on the proud Son of Heaven ranking. The first benefit is a monthly remuneration of spirit gathering pearls and medicinal pills, with the quantity based on your ranking. The second benefit is the infusion of an ancient sage's will into your sea of consciousness, which can save your life during critical moments. The third and most significant benefit is that after ranking, your sect will pay more attention to you, focusing on providing additional resources. The prospect of these benefits excited Xiao Chen, Yu Chengxi, and Gong Yangyu. The opportunity to enter the proud Son of Heaven ranking was undoubtedly a significant one. Bai Shi took her leave as her senior brother approached. The senior brother, a talented swordsman, floated 3 lanterns in front of him as he walked forward. Old Feng, with his 3 lanterns, accompanied him. Old Feng approached Xiao Chen's group and said, Come, follow me to the Sage Wall, and let's attempt to enter the proud Son of Heaven ranking. Accompanied by Old Feng, the trio reached a wall in the hall adorned with numerous illustrations of ancient sages. The wall emanated an ancient and imposing aura, causing all those present to feel immense pressure, making it hard to take deep breaths. The most intriguing aspect was the 1,000 lanterns hanging above the wall, illuminating the sage illustrations and emphasizing their ancient auras. What was astonishing was that the flames within these lanterns resembled miniature human figures made of flames. Though these flame people were small, focusing on them allowed one to visualize the depicted individuals more vividly, as if they were gazing upon real individuals. The wall held 1,000 lanterns, organized in rows. The first row featured a single lantern, the second had 2, the third 4, and so forth. The top 3 lanterns, whose flames were golden and emitted the brightest light, stood out prominently. Each lantern symbolized an exceptional talent in the Tianwu domain. Their brightness and positions left no room for doubt, these were prominent individuals. Old Feng provided insights. You've likely heard of the individuals associated with the top 3 lanterns. The one at the top is Feng Wuji from the Divine Martial Gate. The 2 below are Nuan Muyan from the Phoenix's Passion Palace and Sha Huju from the White Emperor City. Old Feng added, these 3 holy lands are king-grade sects in the Tianwu domain, even surpassing rank 9 sects in strength. They are the only 3 king-grade sects in the Tianwu domain. Xiao Chen's eyebrows twitched at the mention of the 3 holy lands. He thought about his Azure Dragon martial spirit and contemplated the significance of these sects in the Tianwu domain. However, Old Feng continued, most people don't bother comparing themselves to the 3 holy lands. The top 7 geniuses of the younger generation in the Tianwu domain don't include these 3. Old Feng gestured to 7 lanterns positioned below the top 3 and continued, these 7 individuals hail from either rank 9 sects or rank 9 clans. All of them are formidable, with the weakest being a superior grade martial monarch. The strongest among them could hold their own against a martial sage for several moves and escape easily if needed. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen couldn't help but be taken aback. Advancing one's cultivation in the Kunlun realm seemed considerably more challenging than in the Sky Dome realm. The standards for a martial monarch were notably higher here. The challenge of defeating a higher-level cultivator here couldn't be compared to that in the Sky Dome realm. It was almost impossible. Considering Xiao Chen's current strength, if he were to encounter a medial-grade martial monarch from the Kunlun realm, he'd have to exert significant effort to secure victory. If the opponent happened to be a genius cultivator with a higher cultivation grade than Xiao Chen's, it would be a formidable task for him to emerge victorious. These 7 individuals were all superior grade martial monarchs, backed by powerful rank 9 sects or clans, and they were also gifted cultivators. Dealing with them would prove exceedingly challenging for Xiao Chen. Besides these formidable foes, there were also several outstanding talents who ranked just below the 7 giants. These individuals possessed exceptional strength and, if placed in the Sky Dome realm, wouldn't fear an ordinary martial sage. Yu Chengxi and Gong Yangyu attentively listened to Old Feng's words, sensing the immense pressure emanating from the 1,000 lanterns, which left them somewhat disheartened. In contrast, Xiao Chen didn't exhibit any dismay, although he did feel the pressure. His expression remained unchanged. When Old Feng observed the reactions of Yu Chengxi and Gong Yangyu, he smiled faintly and reassured them, "You need not dwell on this too much. In Kunlun realm, the average lifespan of cultivators is 200 years. Therefore, anyone under the age of 40 is considered part of the younger generation. The average age of the 1,000 individuals on this proud son of heaven ranking list is around 30. You are still quite young compared to them. This first attempt is merely an opportunity for you to broaden your horizons. No expectations are placed on you for any specific outcomes." While Old Feng spoke, other cultivators from the Sky Dome realm also gathered at this location, guided by their sect elders. They all wore identity medallions marked with the word, Sky Dome, signifying their origins. Consequently, many people stopped to observe their attempts. Bai Yu from Baiming Palace commented with a smile, "There are many people from the Sky Dome realm, but not a single medial-grade martial monarch. It's no wonder they've consistently ranked last." Bai He chimed in, "If they can't break through to medial-grade martial monarch, it indicates their lackluster talent. Senior Sister Bai, despite that, you conversed with them. You're simply lowering yourself." Bai He is correct. With their talent, even if they were to join a rank 9 sect, they'd only be considered outer disciples, at best ascending to inner disciples. Our Baiming Palace might be a rank 8 sect, but you are all true inheritors. There's no need to associate with the minor figures from these major sects. The young swordsman behind the 3 added slowly, "It's better to form connections with experts of similar strength. Through sparring and sharing insights, you can collectively improve." Bai He and Bai Yu's smiles broadened upon hearing the young swordsman's advice. Bai Shi, under her first senior brother's guidance, lowered her head and remained silent. "Ha ha. People from the Sky Dome realm are also attempting the proud son of heaven ranking. Let's wait and see," someone remarked. "In any case, it won't take long. They'll be leaving as quickly as they came," another person responded. Local cultivators from the Tianwu domain stood by, silently watching, eagerly anticipating some entertainment. "Damn it. Those arrogant folks looking down on us. I'll break into the ranking to prove them wrong," 2 individuals expressed their frustration. They swiftly picked up their lanterns and let their blood drip into them. Flames immediately ignited within the lanterns. These flames converged and formed tiny replicas of the 2 cultivators. They appeared identical but much smaller. Go! The duo felt a powerful force pulling from the wall, and they hurled their lanterns toward it. As the 2 lanterns approached the wall adorned with countless sage paintings, images of 2 sages leapt out of it. These sage images shrank to the size of the flames in the lanterns and entered them. The palm-sized space within the lanterns seemed to transform into a unique realm. The sage images and the miniature flame people engaged in a rapid exchange of moves. But in just a moment, the flame people in each lantern shattered, and the lanterns, devoid of their flames, wobbled and crashed to the ground. The two Sky Dome realm cultivators attempting the proud son of heaven ranking displayed horror in their eyes, paling and spewing a significant amount of blood. Ha ha ha. They can't even pass the foundation test. They shamelessly claimed they would break into the proud son of heaven ranking. The local Tianwu cultivators burst into laughter, their expressions filled with mockery. Bai Yu and Bai He nearly doubled over with laughter. They exclaimed, "These two individuals nearly made me laugh myself to death." They couldn't even withstand a single move from the sage. Yet, they dared to speak of entering the proud son of heaven ranking. If it were me, I'd find a piece of tofu and smash myself to death with it. The two Sky Dome realm cultivators turned green and purple with embarrassment due to the derisive laughter from the locals. Subsequent Sky Dome realm cultivators attempting the challenge faced the same fate. The foundation test defeated them all, with the best among them only lasting 10 moves before their flames shattered and their lanterns fell to the ground. Gong Yangyu and Yu Chengxi also attempted and faced the same result. The sage images overcame their flames, and their lanterns fell. Later, Baiqi and Xuanyuan Zantian took their turn and managed to salvage some pride for the Sky Dome realm. They lasted 20 moves, successfully passing the foundation test. However, their attempt to break into the proud son of heaven ranking ended with the last lantern on the lowest row defeating and shattering their flames. Onlookers had expected this outcome. How could the Sky Dome realm, ranked last, hope to break into the proud son of heaven ranking on their first attempt? Make way, make way. You Sky Dome realm, geniuses, can stop embarrassing yourselves here. You should go back and train for a few more years before trying. Bai Yu and Bai He, from Baiming Palace, waved off Bai Qi and the others. Hey, you, young man, you still haven't made your move. They said to Xiao Chen after parting the crowd. They had waited long enough, eager to end the joke. Impatiently, they added, don't overestimate yourself. This isn't your last ranked Sky Dome realm. You'll never make it onto the proud son of heaven ranking. Just leave. As they spoke, Bai Yu and Bai He prepared to attempt the challenge themselves and tried to push Xiao Chen aside. However, just as they were about to touch him, Xiao Chen suddenly turned his head. His eyes reflected a peak state of malevolence, as if numerous malevolent spirits screamed from within them. I find it uncomfortable when people touch me while I'm attempting to enter the ranking. Xiao Chen maintained a calm tone without releasing his aura. Instead, an overwhelming aura of threat emanated from his eyes and invaded the minds of Bai Yu and Bai He. For some inexplicable reason, fear gripped their hearts, prompting them to instinctively take a step back from his menacing gaze. The two exchanged bewildered glances, questioning why they felt fear despite sharing the same level of cultivation. Recognizing their retreat, Xiao Chen promptly withdrew his intense aura. Having recently arrived in the Kunlun realm and acknowledging his lack of strength, he had no intention of stirring up trouble and aimed to keep a low profile. Though Bai Yu felt fear within, he refused to let it compromise his pride. He remarked, "Fine, go ahead and make your attempt first. Let's see what tricks you can muster. I doubt that anyone from the Sky Dome realm can break into the proud son of heaven ranking on their first try." The local cultivators in the vicinity shared this skepticism. The majority of those on the ranking were over 30 years old, and in the Kunlun realm, where cultivators enjoyed lifespans of over 200 years, anyone under 40 was considered part of the younger generation. At just 21 years old, Xiao Chen faced an undeniable gap in experience and accumulation compared to the locals. Old Feng, observing the unfolding events, held a sense of anticipation. He had anticipated the struggles of Sky Dome realm cultivators in their ranking attempts, given their competition with those who had grown up in the Kunlun realm. The humiliation they experienced was, to some extent, engineered by their sect elders to impart a lesson. However, Old Feng believed that the white-robed bladesman, Xiao Chen, would prove an exception. Xiao Chen, with a calm demeanor, gazed at the sage wall adorned with 1,000 lanterns. He took a deep breath and made a cut on his right palm, allowing his blood to slowly drip onto the lantern. The blood immediately ignited with a "pooh" sound, transforming into a beautiful flame. To his surprise, as the flame within the lantern assumed a human shape, Xiao Chen found himself standing within the lantern. What had initially appeared as a palm-sized lantern had now evolved into an entire world. It felt neither strange nor out of place. This is intriguing. I wonder who crafted this lantern, Xiao Chen mused. Xiao Chen, after making an effort, realized that he could even manipulate the lantern's body. He could also end this state with a mere thought, so there was nothing to be afraid of. When Xiao Chen sensed the attraction from the sage wall, he positioned himself inside the lantern and let out a battle cry. Following that, the lantern soared into the air, carrying him with it. Bai Yu and Bai He jeered at Xiao Chen loudly upon seeing his lantern flying over. Previously, Xiao Chen's gaze had forced them to step back, which was quite embarrassing for them. They were frustrated that they couldn't destroy Xiao Chen's lantern before it flew over, allowing them to vent their anger. Bai Shi, who had been quiet all along, looked up and noticed that her first senior brother was watching attentively as well. She couldn't help but feel curious and asked, "First senior brother, do you think Xiao Chen will succeed?" The blue-robed youth, who exuded an air of authority, appeared more serious now. He was no longer as confident as he had initially been. While others might not have noticed Bai Yu and Bai He's actions earlier, this blue-robed youth had a clear view of the entire incident. Bai Yu and Bai He had already made 3 attempts to enter the Proud Son of Heaven ranking, and their cultivation had reached inferior grade martial monarch. In terms of cultivation, they were superior to Xiao Chen. Moreover, the blue-robed youth was well acquainted with their personalities. A simple word from Xiao Chen shouldn't have been enough to make them back down. Something unusual was happening. The blue-robed youth replied, "It's hard to say. He should be able to pass the foundation test of this sage wall. Whether he can break into the Proud Son of Heaven ranking is uncertain." As Xiao Chen's lantern reached a certain distance from the sage wall, an elderly man with white hair and eyebrows in one of the paintings suddenly came to life. He then shrank and entered the lantern. Inside the lantern's world, Xiao Chen placed his right hand on his saber, not daring to be careless when facing this elderly man. The white-haired elderly man declared, "I will lower my cultivation by 1 grade compared to yours. If you wish to enter the Proud Son of Heaven ranking, you must withstand 20 of my moves first." Immediately after his words, the elderly man drew his sword and sent an attack at Xiao Chen. His figure moved so quickly that it left behind numerous afterimages as he unleashed an assault. The sword emitted a faint glow. As the elderly man attacked, he released 7 sword lights, and each of these sword images split into 3. In an instant, 21 sword images surrounded Xiao Chen. As the wind blew and a fiery light flickered, the countless sword images resembled a blazing sea of fire. Xiao Chen couldn't help but think, what an intricate martial technique. This sword technique not only possesses strong technical aspects but also seamlessly incorporates a fire element into it. This technique took the original martial technique to an entirely new level, leaving Xiao Chen awestruck. He hadn't realized that martial techniques could be employed in such a manner. "Excellent, senior. Your technique is truly exceptional. In that case, this junior will make his move and test his abilities," Xiao Chen exclaimed, his focus entirely on understanding the intricacies of this sword technique. With great enthusiasm, Xiao Chen drew his lunar shadow saber and unleashed a total of 21 attacks, primarily relying on speed rather than creating saber images. With each strike, he infused his thunder element into the attack. The result was a sea of lightning with electrical arcs dancing around its surface. However, this was Xiao Chen's first attempt at using such a technique, and it appeared rather rough compared to the natural and charming sea of fire created by the old man. The white-haired elder raised an eyebrow, offering a faint smile, and remarked, "Young one, you are quite intriguing. But this sea of fire sword light chop is not as straightforward as it seems." The clash between saber and sword produced a constant symphony of clanging sounds as Xiao Chen successfully blocked all 21 of the old man's sword images. However, the sword technique had more in store. The blazing sea of fire surged, engulfing Xiao Chen's sea of lightning, threatening to swallow him up. Even more perilous was a fiery and razor-sharp sword light concealed within the sea of fire, waiting for the opportune moment to strike.